Welcome back to BST, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on yet another episode. The Green Bay Packers have started their season 2-0 with a massive win over the Washington Commanders, 27-18. And in all honesty, it probably should have been worse than that.
Yeah.
And the Commanders were lucky. Lucky to score 18. I thought maybe it's tough at the end, those two touchdowns.
Yeah.
Could be classified as garbage time, but they're trying to claw their way back in the game. But for most of the game that mattered, the Packers shut them down defensively.
Yeah.
If we look at the stats here, 51 total rushing yards allowed. I cannot remember the last Packers team that could stop the run like they have.
Well, I think it's the fewest yards Jaden Daniels has ever had, I think.
I think
right?
what was the stat? The Jaden Daniels Commanders, it's the fewest yards they've ever had offensively.
Yeah, with him.
And
which is crazy to think Green Bay would do that.
I know. I truly this is the best Packers defense in a very long time. In the past we've been fooled because of maybe points per game, stuff like that, but just truly dominant.
I think I remember Rodgers after one interview, I think beating the Bears or something. We've got a defense, he said, and I was like, we do? I was like, I don't know what he was watching.
And I mean, it'd be one thing if you're doing this against the Browns, which they play next week, or like the Giants or some of those lower end teams. I mean, you've done this to Detroit, who has a very good run game, and Washington, who has a very good run game. Washington ran for 200 yards against the Giants, against their D-line.
Oh, yeah, which isn't bad.
No, and I mean, it's just crazy. I honestly can't believe it. The defense has stolen the show. Going into the season, I thought it was going to have to be the offense, and the defense has completely stolen the show. Let's just get Washington out of the way. I don't think Jaden Daniels played a bad game. There just wasn't a lot for him.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels is still dangerous. I think anytime you're playing a guy like him and you're used to the Packer defense that we normally have, we're nervous most of the game.
Oh yeah,
you want to keep the ball out of his hands. But the Packers played a good zone, so those defensive backs were watching the quarterback, and it really kind of limited Jaden Daniels' ability to play make, and he wasn't facing man coverage, so he kind of took what they gave him, which early on really wasn't much.
It wasn't a lot at all.
Kind of softened in the second half, but I think that's just that's typical. You see that all the time in the NFL. It's like the second half, it comes down to fourth quarter, and it's kind of like, okay, now we're gonna make a push. I mean, I don't really call that their first touchdown really garbage time.
It
but
wasn't.
That second one was kind of like, okay, it's 27-10, 3-score game with 5.5 minutes. You can kind of tell that they kind of backed off, got a little soft. They weren't mixing in any other pressures until they got down in the red zone a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was the best case to try to limit a guy like Jaden Daniels, and I think that's just where he's really made his plays, and I think that's where he's been dynamic, is scrambling and then extending plays.
He had plays like that tonight.
Yeah, he had a few. He did make them, but certainly to limit him to 200 yards passing, which I don't know if he's really known for a ton of yards. Passing.
He didn't throw it for a ton of yards. But I mean, when you're a rushing quarterback, it's a lot of your yards come from the ground.
And what was his rushing?
He had 17 yards rushing.
7 carries for 17 yards.
That's
and
crazy.
How many times was he sacked? 4 times.
4 times.
So, I mean, great play by the Packer defense.
100%.
I think we ought to talk about the Packer offense a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of the points that I think were left off the board.
I think it definitely could have been in the 40s, if not just like 35 plus.
Well, it's kind of like Al Michaels said in the first half. I mean, they're up 14-3.
Yeah.
And it felt like, even at 7-0, it felt like, my goodness, they're just, really, moving the ball. They're racking up the
they
yards.
Like 400 yards of offense.
We had that big drive to start the game, ended in a turnover on downs, which should have probably ended up in 3 points. So we'll just go conservative and say, okay, 3 points that, McManus did miss a field goal. That was another 6. So, I mean, we're assuming he makes everything he kicks, right? So that's 6 points off the
Yep.
board, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the touchdown by Reed that he injured his shoulder on that was called back for holding. I mean, so that's 13 points off the
Yep.
board right there. So right there, you're at your 40 number.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, it just felt like early on, it felt like we were dominating.
The score is not indicative
No.
of how
And-
much the Packers dominated
Well,
this game.
and it's like, man, we're dominating, and I'm looking at the score, going, man, they just scored a touchdown. They're right back
Yeah.
in it. Like, what is going on? Like, what's happening
I
here?
agree.
So, and just some questionable play calling.
The
in
penalties
second
were
half.
bad as well.
Yeah, the penalties derailed some drives. They overcame some of the penalties, only to kind of just stymie in the red zone. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway,
I think that's what's so promising though is the offense it's playing good, but it's not like outstanding. But just defensively with Parsons, like he's getting mugged all night.
oh yeah,
Just like
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to call. They're not going to call holding every play, but especially going against that rookie Connerly.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can ask a rookie to do against Micah Parsons, and I mean, you sacked him 4 times, and it was just a lot of short passes for Daniels, and for the Packers offensively, like you said, it was just the same kind of inconsistency that does scare me a little bit. But I mean, we're really just like picking at nits here. It's like,
Well, and that being said, I mean, we're being nitpicky, and we're, I think a little bit. I think the biggest takeaway for me was actually I felt like this might have been Jordan Love's one of his best games he's played, like complete games. Because,
0 turnover worthy plays.
he took some bad sacks, but I feel like in the past
Not a-
he'd force a ball.
Yeah.
Maybe or not. I mean, the sacks weren't like horrible. The
He only
first
got
sack
sacked
was
twice.
just a coverage sack. The second one was, he ran back. They busted
There's
up on
no-
that play
no
action.
protection.
There's nowhere to go. I feel like there were times that he could get shaky feet and he could force a ball. It felt like his footwork was really good. It felt like he avoided the rush a little bit. He took an extra step to his left or his right, or he stepped up and he fired, and it always felt like he wasn't doing any back foot throws. He was really pretty solid, and most of his throws were on target, and they were caught, or they were in a spot where only the receiver could make a play. If there wasn't a play to be made, it was because he either overthrew them or it was just in a position, whatever. So I felt like it was one of Love's best games.
I agree. And like last game against Detroit, there were the 2 throws that were definitely turnover worthy.
Oh, yeah.
And one got called back. It would have been a pick 6. So
Oh,
to see
yeah.
him go into here, and there's still things he can improve. Like I thought the deep ball accuracy was poor. Maybe has Golden for a touchdown on that deep post route.
I think it's chemistry between
Yeah,
those two.
fair.
I think that's kind of what it is. I think he's young. I mean,
think
Golden didn't have a
that's
single
the craziest
catch.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
we think Golden can be like the superstar on this offense. That's what he's drafted to be, and he hasn't really made an impact yet. But I think that just speaks to the potential that's there. And with this
yeah.
defense playing so well, like Keyshawn Nixon was unbelievable.
And on offense, Dontavian Wicks stepped up
Yeah.
today. Dobbs was his solid self. I mean, Kraft had a coming out party. Kraft, the defense for the Commanders kind of helped in that. I mean,
He was open a lot.
He was
but
open a lot.
He's just a beast.
But you know what? That's what's great is like Love found the open guy.
Yep.
Like he went to that open guy. We're not used to, for so many years as Packer fans, when you have like so few starting quarterbacks, you have Brett Favre, you go into Aaron Rodgers. And then, especially in like the Rodgers era, I felt like in the Favre era, the superstar wide receiver really wasn't something there. And he was a little bit more, you had Antonio Freeman, but nobody of the caliber that Rodgers played with, and like a Devontae Adams. So when you have an Adams as your primary target, we're just so used to that. Rodgers to Adams is going to come clean, is going to come through for us. This is a tough team to ever draft a fantasy player on because
I
they
probably
spread it around so much that you just don't know week to week who's going to be the one to step up. And this week it was Wicks. Last week it felt like it was Dobbs. But in the years past, last year before, Jaden Reed was kind of like our go-to guy. He goes down and, we haven't been able to move the ball. But without Watson, without Reed, you didn't feel like a letdown. Really, you felt like, oh, well, we've got Kraft, we've got Golden, we've got
Savion
Savion.
Williams.
I mean, Malik Heath had a great catch on the sideline. I mean, it just
the
felt like,
weapons are plentiful.
oh yeah, the weapons were great, and it's like it was great to have kind of a sloppy game, but never feel like it was really out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, we were pissed. Don't get us wrong. I mean, we were
I know, I was
we
just
were
mad that
screaming at the
they
TV
couldn't,
because
like,
we
put
just
it away.
we just demand perfection, and that's I think it seems like we never quite have the kill shot that just takes out the team, and we let them kind of hang around. And I think Al Michaels and Herb Street probably mentioned it 5 times that Washington was like a heavyweight fighter, just kind of taking blows and kind of hanging around. And and the Packers weren't really hitting that knockout or connecting on that knockout punch. Because keep in mind, I mean, Commanders missed 2 field goals. Yep. So, I mean, so they had 6 points off the board that they missed. So, I mean, still didn't outscore the Packers, but, that definitely... we weren't able to capitalize as much on those opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. And you're going to have to moving forward. But like, I think these are just things that as the season moves on, the offense gets more chemistry. They will happen. And you can see, like, when they put together a good drive, they're just unstoppable on offense. Like, they just have so many answers. And I mean, the other thing is, like, Jacob's not even getting, like, he's not efficient right now. The blocking is just not there, and it's like, if that improves, if they can find a little more consistency and like complementary football offensively, where the run can just help the pass a little bit, we can start running for 5 yards and then just moving the chains more efficiently. Like, the sky's the limit for the offense, and with this defense that you got so many studs on who are just, I mean, you look at the defense and it's really just built in a way that makes sense, because once Parsons, I mean, I don't even know how many snaps, I don't think it'll show me how many snaps he played, but I mean, Parsons I think he had 4 pressures.
Half a sack.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, he was beating both tackles. They moved him inside. Gary had a sack, and the D-line played good again. They were just getting, the thing is, too, they're just getting good push. And overall, the energy on defense is just crazy. I didn't think it was as good as the Detroit game in terms of, like, rallying and tackling, but, like, they still did a really good job, especially early on. And it was just like, dude, this defense has come to play this year, and they could be tops in the league by the time this season is over. And just once this offense clicks, the sky's the limit. And the Packers got a decent stretch here where they can win some more games.
Well, I think you saw a little bit difference where I think against Detroit, you know that Goff is not running, right? He's not looking to run, and so you can kind of come off and you can kind of come right at him. I think when you are rushing a guy like Jaden Daniels,
it's definitely
you're a little bit more. I think for a second they have to you can't just like blindly run back there because he's gone, right? You have to kind of try to contain a little bit and then hope that you can kind of get him moving and then make that break and because you're thinking his speed's going to come into play. So I think a lot of that slowed it down, and quite honestly, I think the front four were getting kind of gassed a little bit on that up tempo that they were starting to play kind of that hurry up to try to mitigate some of that. And I think that was starting to gain more success in the second half. And so
I agree.
But in the end, I mean, they were able to still, substitute people in and out. I mean, I don't know if everybody saw that fourth quarter
that
there.
Was crazy.
That the ump forced them to use their second timeout because the Packers still had to substitute, and they were kind of taking their sweet time a little bit. And I was kind of like, what's going on here? They're just gonna do this and reset the play clock, but then they made them call a timeout. I thought, wow, okay. I've never seen anything like that before.
It was very weird.
So, anyway,
but
great game though.
I mean, it is a good time to be a Packers fan, and I will still hold Philly above them. I don't care.
Oh yeah, you got to beat them first.
Philly will be above them until the Packers prove they can beat them.
Yeah.
Or Philly just falls off a cliff, which I don't see happening.
No.
But like
you got to go beat them.
But I mean, I think at this point, Packers got to be the number 2 team in the NFC if we're just looking at contenders, because I mean, the whole thing last year was you can't beat good teams. You can't beat the playoff teams. Well, they just beat 2 of the playoff teams.
First
in
team to do that.
2024.
First team to
It
go.
was a really weird stat.
Yeah, it was a
like
total ESPN stat.
It was like
but
first team to beat 2 previous season playoff teams
in the first 2 games of a season.
Yeah, but it was also like within the first 5 days or so. It was such
some
an ESPN
weird stat. Yeah,
stat.
the first yeah, that's what it was. Huh?
It was like
to beat 2 former playoff teams from the prior year in the first 5 games of a season or something. Yeah,
it was super weird.
All right,
I don't even know like what that.
There's
meant.
no trophy for that, but
yeah,
I mean,
what a good win for the Packers.
Great win.
Got to be hyped in Green Bay. Yeah, I can't really think. Also, Austin Eckler. Hopefully he gets better because the injury
sounds
looked
like it's an
Achilles injury.
Yeah, hopefully.
Although I do have Bill Krosky Merritt, so in fantasy. So
we're not gonna celebrate.
I'm not celebrating, but like Bill Krosky Merritt stock to the moon right now.
Well,
hopefully he can get some more carries.
Hopefully it doesn't end Eckler's career.
No, great player.
I think he's got a lot of gas left in the tank. He'll come back from that.
I agree.
But it just sucks. Yeah. It sucks to happen because they work so hard to get to the get ready to play, and to lose it in any time in the season isn't easy. But yeah, I just always hate to see that.
100%. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.
Yep.
I'm not sure when our next video will be. We'll see. Probably we'll do like a small reaction to the games this weekend, and should be good to see the matchups, not have to worry about the Packers. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, check out TikTok, and have a good one.